In Britain today, industry is a dirty word. In an attempt to change widespread anti-industrial attitudes, 1986 was declared Industry Year. Thousands of events were staged to try to encourage a better understanding of industry. This film looks at only one aspect of the year's activities, efforts to forge closer links between industry and schools.
If you remember, we talked about the skills that the different people needed. The managing director needs perhaps different skills to the financial director.
40 children are about to go into business. The 10 and 11-year-olds from Seaburn Dene Primary School in Sunderland are setting up their own mini company. It's one of many similar enterprises in Industry Year 86.
Whether it was understanding or communication or being sympathetic to other people. So what we're looking for you to do this morning then is to write those letters of application and then within your companies interview the people, and then you can get on and take the planning of your company forward.
"29th of September. Dear Sir and Madam, I would like to apply for a job as the manager to this company. I have quite a good experience on the job.
Dear Sir, I would like to apply for the job of Finance Director. I am truthful and honest. I am good at maths, so I can do any number work involved. I have not had any experience before, but I think I would be good at handling money."
Running these mini enterprises presents the children with very real problems which require real solutions. And the learning that takes place in solving those problems is wonderful, and that in many ways is becoming the prime reason for doing it.
So I then go on to the next job for the next person. See who wants to be the trade union representative. We've got to find out who wants to be finance director. We've got to have a look at the letters and like read them and see who seems the best. I'd like to apply for the job of financial director. I like working with money and I am good at working out. I am a good writer.
I have got a good sense of humour. I dress smartly and think I would be very good at this job. I can make decisions. I'm a very good timekeeper. Yours faithfully, Fiona Dodds.
Would you be trustworthy in like your promise not to steal any money whatsoever?
Yes.
Would you be prompt at work on time? Have you if you weren't appointed for this job, have you any other idea if you would like to have another job? No. Well, have you had any experience in another job with working with money?
Yes.
Which
used to work in a bank.
A bank. Okay. Well, would you like me to either get you all together and tell you, or shall I just get the one person and tell them, or shall I tell you all together?
All together.
Okay, right. We'll get them all together now. This has been a very hard decision. I've decided who I am appointed for the job. I decided I'd appoint Kevin for the job. You have no hard feelings, but I have had a great deal of thought on this job, and I'm sure I picked the right person.
There is a gap in awareness and understanding of industry. It's something perhaps that primary schools in particular have tended to ignore. We've tended to concentrate on looking perhaps at the natural world and ignoring the world of work. So there's a gap in that sense, and also there's perhaps a gap in that so often we say to children, these are the answers, rather than the opposite and saying to children, these are the problems, you find the answers.
Getting the right staff is obviously important, but if your aim is to go into mass production, it's even more vital to ensure you have the right product.
You have to get a ping pong ball and make it into something and design something. That's what with the head and just put a pencil in. It's not going to be very easy, I don't think. Just getting them at the right shape and the right size and things like that. That's too expensive.
That's good, but it's very expensive. That one take too much cardboard. That one's good. That one be that.
This one's good.
It's easy. Yeah, them two. I think we'll choose them two.
The easy to make.
Yeah, the easy to
Choose them too.
Okay.
Let's choose them.
The George Stephenson High at Killingworth is another school that's enthusiastically taken up the industry year theme of education and industry working closely together. Headmaster Neville Palmer's approach, though, has been different. The school has staged a 2-day industrial conference, a major exhibition, and 8 industry seminars.
We first became involved 4 or 5 years ago when we went out to industry in order to tell them what we were doing, what we stood for, and to ask them what they felt we should be doing and what perhaps they felt we should stand for. And it's developed from there. I can't do anything about the vast unemployment in the country other than deplore it. But the unemployment levels, even in the northeast, have not reached the employment levels. And equipping my people the best to join the majority of people who are still employed is something that I can do something about.
More music, Metro 97 FM.
The same school also won several industry year competitions aimed at increasing children's awareness of the world outside the classroom. One contest challenged pupils to write a radio commercial for building societies. Seeing the ad recorded was part of the regional winner's prize.
It's about robbers robbing this bank and basically them running away with the money, and then they put the radio on, they hear about this building society and they hear about the interest, and so they stop, go to the nearest building society and put the money in to earn the interest.
Okay, James, building society commercial. We'll do the tag, please. We'll play it in and you come in on my signal, okay? Here we go.
Building society, take 1.
Hey, put your foot down. The cops will be here soon. How much do we get? They're 500 quid each. Hey, listen to this.
You don't need to shop around when investing your money. Come to a building society. With 9% interest per annum and longer opening hours, your money will be safe and secure with us and available for you at any time.
Look, there's one over there.
Good morning, sir. Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to open an account with £500, please.
You don't need to rob a bank to get rich. Just invest your money in a building society and let the interest do the rest.
50 seconds, thank you.
It sounded better than what I had thought.
When we were making it, we did it on an old tape recorder and it didn't sound half as good as what it did there.
We didn't realise it was so hard. It was very hard to do. Thinking of a script and trying to word it properly. English.
It's a great script, it's a good commercial, it's full of action, it's full of drama, it's a powerful commercial, it's not boring, and I think that is the best thing about it.
Make sure you're all seated, strapped in, that your life vest is on the right way around with a pouch outside the seat harness. We'll update you en route if necessary and let you know when we're descending towards the rough bit. Cheers.
Another of the year's competitions aimed at boosting awareness of industry landed Suzanne Hendy, James Pearce, Lynn Sharp and Edward Stanek a trip to a North Sea gas rig. The British Gas Northern contest was to write about future gas industry policies.
I was a little bit apprehensive at first. I mean, I've never flown before, and I was a bit worried about the helicopter and what it'd be like. But once we were up there, it was really good.
Thought we'd just get on a helicopter and get off, really, just like a plane. And there was a lot more preparation. The landing pad seemed very small, and it was sort of like a perch at the top. It just felt really exhilarating being on top of that massive sort of structure.
amazed at how big and how high it was. It wasn't really like what I expected it to be. It was all very safety conscious. Obviously it has to be. There was a special safety procedure and everything, but it was well organised.
Diving operations are continuing on the west side of the BP platform. No debris is to be put over the side. Diving operations are continuing on the west side of the BP platform. No debris put over the side.
I didn't think it'd be so big as it was. I mean, you see pictures of it, but there's not really much comparison when they're just stuck out in the sea.
At the rough field it's original because it can both produce gas and use for storage as well. And so they have wells which go down to the sandstone and bring the gas up. Or they can do it in the summer months, they're pumping it back from the national network down back into the field for storage.
High pressure testing is now taking place from the BD East Wellhead area.
It's very easy when you're at school, especially in the sixth form, to be sitting in a classroom and being force-fed various bits of information, but you don't see how it applies. And I mean, those are about things we do in physics and chemistry that we actually saw practical applications for. So it was really an insight into industry. I'm now much more aware of what industry means.
This afternoon, Jim Rochester, who I think you met last Friday, will be coming in and doing a session on management skills. And then straight into the minibus, off to Grundfos Pumps, where you'll be shadowing the people that you met on Friday. And you'll be
Few industry year activities could have gone closer to achieving the key aims of the year than the one these pupils are being prepared for.
After lunch on Tuesday, we'll be reviewing all of the things you've learned at Grundfos.
The youngsters from Farringdon School, Sunderland, are about to be given the unique chance of actually working on a factory production line.
They're getting an opportunity, first of all, to meet a lot of people and work with a lot of people other than teachers. By bringing industrialists into the classroom and taking young people out into industry, they're having an opportunity to speak with other adults about the things they do, about their experiences, and this can only help to enhance the education that these young people are getting.
The pupils' work-in at a heating pumps factory in Sunderland is part of the educational initiative TVEI, where the emphasis is on technical and vocational learning. Learning, in other words, through experience in real life.
Well, I've got to put the wires in these amps, they're called amps, and I've also got to put these wires up so they don't touch these things. That's all.
Well, what I'm doing is like taking the amps, they're like a roll, I'm just taking them out. That's all I'm doing really. But I've learned that the people are kind, they're generous, like they help you, like if you go somewhere wrong, they tell you.
It simply involves the checking of machinery and making sure that everything's working in correct order.
Co-winder for 7 to 3.
The 10 a.m. production meeting. Production supervisor Sava and production engineer Allison report the shift's problems.
Electrical fault, head 2. It just simply gives you more idea what it's like to work with adults, actually working full-time, doing proper jobs, instead of just doing the odd job around the house or something like that. It just gives you more of an insight to working with older people.
Instead of being Tuesday and Wednesday, we're now looking at Thursday.
Everyone worked as a team. It was well organised, everything was good.
Is there still a problem with absentees this morning?
Yeah, there's just one absent, but it shouldn't really cause any problem because it's not operating in any way.
So there's no hours being lost at all?
No, not really.
It gives you an idea of what work's going to be like, because a lot of people, like, if you haven't had a part-time job or anything, you go into a job and you haven't got a clue what you're going to be doing. You haven't got a clue what work's going to be like or anything. The full company as a team, they work together to try and get things worked out. I think it's very helpful.
Bits and bobs, can I help you?
6 weeks have passed, and the enterprising children of Seaburn Dene Primary have moved to a factory.
Well, the Santa and a poodle on top of a pencil. They would be nice for stocking fillers and Christmas presents and birthday presents.
The production line is now in full swing. The children have left their classroom and have a week in a factory unit on an industrial estate at Washington. The Sunderland Education Through Enterprise Centre.
Like drawing around the template, the colour template, and cutting a rectangle out and then sticking it around the pencil. So it's like a colour.
Cutting out a piece of cotton wool about 8 centimetres then, twisting it around, gluing it around the rim of the hat, drawing blue eyes and a red nose, and then I pass it on to Lynn.
I cut the bead out and stick it on. It's quite hard because the bead gets all sticky and it goes all over your hands.
From our point of view as educationalists, what we're trying to do is to bring out from the experience that the kids are having of running a mini company all the learning possibilities that are inherent within it. For example, the interpersonal skill development that children acquire while they are running this company. They have to solve problems. They have to get on with people. They have to make decisions which ordinarily they wouldn't have to do.
Come in, boys. Make yourself comfortable. I hear you've got a problem.
Yes. I'm getting a bit bored because I haven't got much to do.
And I've got too much to do. So we're going to ask you if we could change our jobs, maybe.
Well, would it be alright if we take half your jobs? So you've got the same amount as him?
Yes.
Which job would you like to keep?
I would like to keep rolling the ball up and sticking it on the top of the hat, and then he could stick it onto the top of the ping pong ball and then put his colour template on.
Does that sound alright to you?
Yeah.
Would you like to do that then?
Yes.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Right, and that's fine. So if you want to alter your cards and then, so you can get on with the job straight away.
Right.
Richard's bringing the hat, and then it's coming off and I stick on the cotton wool. We'll try and put the band a bit further up or it'll come off. And don't make it too thick.
They have to go out and talk to people. They have to negotiate. These are all skills which they don't get an awful lot of opportunity to practice and develop in the normal classroom situation.
Remember to put the face on the front side, not the back, or you'll be able to see the seam of the hat. Right.
Now can I with the pattern? Okay, too much around to make you
Pupils have learned from industry, but the opposite's true too. ICI asked sixth form college students Susan Dunn and David Kennedy from Guisborough to work on a material called APC.
APC is about 30% lighter than aluminium. It's also very strong and stiff, has very good impact resistance, and is fire resistant. In any fibre reinforced plastic, it's very important for the matrix, such as PEEK, to stick very well to the carbon fibres. So we in the research department here are interested in developing new tests to measure the level of fibre matrix adhesion. Susan and David have been investigating one of these tests which we've recently developed at ICI, but we didn't have time to fully investigate.
I think it's shown the qualities you require to do research, the patience required, the devotion, time you need, the patience to carry on and make sure it's accurate at the end.
Well, the actual test is fairly monotonous, but the involvement of the test in the scale is a lot bigger than I actually thought at first. It's fairly important in the chain.
Each department of ICI has its own special job in such a long chain. You've got to work together, but each stage is important, so you feel some sense of responsibility and achievement.
With the chemical industry, I thought you'd be mixing chemicals together, and I wasn't expecting to be pulling on the ends of fibres, and it's really diverse, the things you have to do.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank both of you and Dr. Penty for giving me such a super report of the week's work. If you remember, I gave you a whole series of samples some of which were with a single fibre which had been treated, and we gave you some samples which hadn't been treated. Could you see any difference between the two different fibres?
Yes, there was a definite difference between the two fibres, the untreated and the treated. What we found was that treated fibres gave the best adhesion.
Mm-hmm. If the adhesion was good, you'd expect smaller lengths.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you found that?
Yeah, we found that, yeah.
Right. Was it quite difficult to count all the lengths?
It was, yeah. Especially with the more crystalline samples, we had to heat them up and then smear them to see the breaks.
I'm really amazed at how much work you managed to get through in less than 5 days. So really, I'm very impressed.
British Steel had a problem which they called in two pupils from Hartlepool Sixth Form College to help them solve. Geoffrey Carter and David Ryan were asked if they could improve housing for a microphone used to position a lance that blasts oxygen onto molten iron in the basic oxygen steelmaking process.
This is the microphone that we use on the steel plant to measure the noise in the BOS vessel. And this is the housing which is contained in. And really what we asked them to do was to measure the characteristics of this housing. Now this is a real problem that we have on a steel plant. The operator needs to know very precisely what's going on inside the vessel, and the indication needs to be very reliable.
What sort of results did you get from your tests?
Well, initially we tested the microphones that you gave us for their frequency response, and we did find that the new microphone had a much better response to lower frequencies, which is of course what you're interested in for the process.
Yes.
So ideally a new system would need the new microphone.
Did you come up with any ideas of any new sort of pipework that we could use?
Well, we did come up with some fancy designs using like curves and so on, but these were a bit impractical, we thought, because you've got to be able to clean the thing from time to time.
Yes, you have, haven't you? Yes. It has to be quite practical to use on the plant in that dirty environment.
Genuine problem which needed to be solved, and from the start of it we did not know what results we would get. Could have got nothing.
This is a steelmaking control desk where all the process activities are controlled. The operator has a joystick where he can control the height of the lance above the steel.
It's quite a range of atmospheres really, the technical atmosphere, then the down-to-earth industrial atmosphere on the plant itself. It's given us a good insight into the real problems of industry.
It also gives you an experience of pure research.
We get a good insight into what is required of you if you were to work in such industry.
British industry has perhaps not the best reputation for sixth form students and graduates. I don't think that we have really put ourselves out in the past to get this sort of cooperation, and this particular industry liaison year seemed to be a very good opportunity for us to do our little bit to help both our industry and also perhaps the future of British industry and the students themselves.
The activities we've started within industry education of Industry Year will be ongoing, and Industry Year itself is continuing, because Industry Year will take place in 1987 as Industry Matters, and our chairman, Mr. Bill Hay from British Telecom, will chair the Industry Matters Committee and take that forward into 1987, so we can build on what we've started in 1986.
There's evidence up and down the country that we're having tremendous success in getting home the message that if we are going to succeed in creating the wealth for all our goods, then
it must be done through the educational system and a change in attitudes. Opinion research backs that up. The end of 1986 will be only the beginning of a long, long struggle, which I see will take us a generation probably to put right.